All right, well, welcome everyone to another Link Whisper webinar. Um, as you've seen, we're trying to make this one about you guys and try to answer your most pressing questions. Um, the most repeated questions that we've heard in the last week have been about the AI features and about the auto-linking. So we're going to go over those topics first, and then as always, we'll open it up for Q&A, and you can ask whatever you want. So feel free if you have a question about something as Matt's explaining it or as we're talking about it. I would say they should just jump in, no? So it's in the moment. Is that okay with you,
Yeah,
Matt?
that's totally fine.
Okay, excellent. Well, whenever you're ready, why don't you take it away?
Okay. Share my screen. Okay, and the first question we got to, or the main question, or the top question that we got was in setting up the AI suggestions, and in back of that, setting up the AI, or just getting the AI started in the first place. And so to start there, what we need to do is, and this is assuming that we have the OpenAI key already. If you don't have the OpenAI key, we have a full walkthrough that shows how to get it on our knowledge base. Just search for find OpenAI key or get OpenAI key, and that'll pull the document up. But yeah, once we have our API key, what we do is we come down here to the Link Whisper settings, come to the AI settings, and paste in our API key. Click Save Settings. And that will connect Link Whisper to OpenAI so we can use their AI models to process the site's content. And once we do that, we want to make sure that the AI processing methods to perform are selected for what we want to do on the site. And the main ones we want are the AI relation analysis and the keyword analysis. And the relation analysis scans your site's content to show Link Whisper what posts are related to other posts, which are unrelated, and also to help it understand the overall layout of the site better. The keyword analysis asks ChatGPT to create a whole bunch of keywords for each post so that way they can be used in suggestions. If ever you don't want to use one of these, you just toggle it off and save the settings and it won't be used. Once the methods are selected, you want to click Begin Processing Data. And what this will do is start up a live process to actively scan the site, and usually inside of an hour, your site will be processed. Click Begin, and the site is, our Link Whisper is already largely processed, so it just takes a moment. Processing is complete. And once we've completed the AI relation analysis, we're able to use the AI-powered suggestions. And the AI-powered suggestions are a feature where Link Whisper expressly uses the AI relation data to find the suggestions and then uses AI to build anchors for the suggestions, so that way they're more tailored and accurate. We'll just turn that on. Save settings. And then go check out a post. Just a quick detour that if this is the first time that you've completed the AI content analysis, you're going to want to run a link scan. Oops. Oh, I am still sharing. I didn't notice that. Yeah, sorry, everybody. I thought I turned off the sharing by mistake. But yeah, if it's the first time you run an AI content analysis, you want to come to the dashboard and run the link scan. And the reason for this is because that will tell Link Whisper to check your linking relationships to see how related the links are between your posts. And it'll use that data to populate the link relation score. And if we click on this, it'll take us to the link relation report, which will show us just how related all of the links going between our posts are. And ideally, we'll have that above 80%. And moving on to the suggestions. Yeah, and with the AI-powered suggestions on, since it's plucked from the, or since it's used the AI data to generate the suggestions and to create the keywords, it's a more targeted experience than what we would normally see. Also, we can see how related the posts that we're linking to. We get to see how related the current post is to that post, as well as how related this specific sentence is to the target post. Ideally, we would have it somewhere above 50%. If we want to sort by sentence score, we can do select this, select it in the suggestion filters, and we could just see the immediate change in results. We do sometimes need to select a word here, select a word there, but overall, it is a huge improvement in accuracy to use the AI-powered suggestions versus the unpowered suggestions.
Matt, what would you say to someone who feels that the previous methods link suggestions are superior to the AI suggestions? Is there something wrong with their site? Is there something wrong with the scan? Like what could be happening there?
Yeah, a big thing is that this does operate inside of a range where it's like the tool is calibrated for a broad section of sites, but there will be some cases where, maybe it's structured a certain way, or maybe the processing, or basically for whatever reason, it's not calibrated for their use case. So if they're getting better results with the previous method, I would suggest just use that and just enjoy the results.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see that these suggestions like rank higher over time is generally related to can we pay Google to rank higher? And we can just see the semantic relationship between the suggestions and the target posts. If ever we want to not use the AI suggestions, we can just turn it off, click regenerate, and Link Whisper will use the traditional method of generating suggestions. And this also takes a little longer since it doesn't rely on the AI cache in order to process. So it'll just be a couple of seconds for it to all finish up.
So if someone wanted to turn off the AI suggestions altogether, they would have to go back into the settings, or they could just turn it off post by post? What would you recommend?
Yeah, you can turn it off from here and it'll just deactivate across the entire site. This setting is persistent since we
Okay,
figured that this is going to be a high level sort of thing. So if you turn it off here, it'll be off for other post loads. But if you turn it back on, then it'll just be on for all of them.
got it.
And as long as the OpenAI keyword is inserted, you'll have the option to filter by relatedness score. And LinkWhisper will filter out the suggestions that fall below the listed score. So if you've got a whole bunch of posts that are ranking in like 30% relatedness, LinkWhisper will just automatically remove those because those are just so far off. You're not going to link with those. But yeah, and after loading with the original method, we can see that the links they're worth working with, but they're somewhat less targeted, somewhat less semantically relevant, and just overall looser. So if you haven't already, you are going to want to try running with the AI powered suggestions and just see what your results are. And it doesn't take too many tests to find out if it's going to work on your site. I mean, if you've got if you run a couple of suggestions or suggestion processes, then you should be able to tell like within 5 or 10 loads, just okay, which one's going to work better for you and which one you should run with.
So there are niches for which the old method would be better for suggestions, for link suggestions.
There definitely are, yes, and particularly if you have very keyword heavy post titles or you have an extensive network of keywords on your sites, then the old method is keyword based and it relies on that, it will just hew to that a lot more closely. Yeah, and this is a walkthrough of the AI suggestions and AI setup functionality. Are there any questions about it?
Is everybody here using the AI? What's your experience with it? If anyone would like to tell us. Open
Well,
to
you
feedback.
guys used my site the last time and kind of set some of this stuff up, and so I think it's working. It's my traffic is still trivial, but it's my kind of political blog, so it's probably me and 6 other guys who care, but it seems to be working, seems to be helping.
Glad to hear it.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave.
Okay, we'll go on to the one-click setup and auto-linking questions.
Actually,
And
can I ask these AI? These are some AI questions that one of our customers is asking.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. He says, is it possible to delete the AI generated data after using it? Will all the AI data be stored in the database? He has more than 1,000 pages and he wants to know if that's a huge amount of data or is it not a problem?
Yeah, it's not a huge amount of data. It does vary a bit based on site, and if you do have the AI-powered suggestions turned on, it will use more data. If you don't have it turned on, then usually it runs about 40 megabytes, so it's not a ton of space to use. If you have the AI-powered suggestions turned on, it can be higher, and that's because the sentences themselves are scored individually, and we need to be able to keep track of the AI data, so that gets stored in the database, and it's a much more zoomed in view of the site. And the total space used depends on the amount of text content that you have on your site. So if you have if you have 1,000 tiny little posts, it's not going to make a difference. If you've got these gigantic blog articles, you're going to see a lot of space in the database.
Okay. So it depends on the length of the content.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's the only question I have for now.
Ah, okay, right. Yeah, and if if you haven't started or if you've already installed the site, but you want to run the one-click setup, you just have to come to the dashboard, open the screen options, and click the Launch One-Click Setup button. That will take you to the wizard, and since we already have the license key entered, we can just skip that phase. And then we'll come to the Use Best Practices for Link Whisper setup, and if we select yes, Link Whisper will populate the settings it'll configure the settings for what we found to be the best practices for sites overall, as well as tell it to create auto-linking rules based on your site's keywords. And if you don't want to do any of this, you could just tell it, no, I'll set this up, and it'll let you just handle the install and the configuration all yourself. Since we do want to go through the setup process, we'll say yes. We'll just wait on connecting to Google Search Console. We're already connected to OpenAI, so we don't need to connect it at this phase. And now we're doing the site scan. And the scan can take usually between 5 minutes and an hour and a half, depending on how big your site is. If your site's if it's 1,000 posts or so, it should take around 10-15 minutes to complete. So it shouldn't be a real huge intensive process. If you selected no, I'll handle the setup, it should be much quicker, usually about 5 minutes for a 1,000-page site. While it's scanning, we can go to the dashboard and we can watch the scanning progress as it comes in and see the metrics update as the scan goes. Once the scan completes, we'll be notified of it. We can hit OK. And since the linking for you aspect of the one-click setup is powered by the auto linking, we can check and see what Link Whisper is proposing at any point by coming to the auto linking report. And so all these rules that are in here have been created by the one-click setup. And you may see that a lot of them are zeros, and that's because Link Whisper is making its best guess at what auto linking keyword will work, but it doesn't have express knowledge of which. It doesn't go post by post and say, okay, I think this is going to be the best. I think that's going to be the best. It has to make a number of estimations because there's just so much ground to cover. But if we decide we don't like these keywords or want to remove all of them, we can just select them, come to the bulk actions, hit delete selected, and then do bulk action. It'll ask us to confirm which ones, what we want to do. Do we want to remove just the links or the rules themselves? And since there are no links for these particular rules, we'll just go ahead and hit that. And then the rules are removed. By default, it only shows you 20 per page, but we can come up here to the screen options and set it to 200 posts a page. And we can see a much bigger list of keywords.
So for anyone who's worried that the one-click setup is going to install all these crazy links across their site, that's okay because they can just go to auto linking and they can remove them.
Oh yeah, they totally can.
Okay.
And even if they've created a bunch of links and you say like, I really wish those links weren't there, click delete, remove the rule and the links, and it'll just completely undo what was done.
And for any auto links that someone created manually.
Those as well, yes.
So I've been experimenting with the free product so far because I hadn't used it yet. And obviously you have to manually link. And I'm noticing where it's attempting to link is in the section where I have my commercial about how people can go elsewhere to purchase stuff from me. Not ideal. With the auto link, I would expect it would attempt to do that. And my blog is pretty large. Like 1,000 was, I'd like more than 10,000 on my site. So I understand it's going to take a while to go through my site. That's a given. I'll do that tonight. But in terms of specifying where it should be looking, is there a way I can specify to Link Whisper, either its AI model or otherwise, that it should not look here or it should look there?
In specific sections?
Yes. So for example, I have an about section. And at times with the free version, again, purchasing the paid one tonight, it's trying to link to stuff that's there and take people away from my commercial and where I'm trying to direct people to, as opposed to the content that's above the word about Jeff Altman. So I'm just wondering, is there a way I can specify where it looks? And if not, I just want to know.
Yeah, definitely. There isn't currently a way to do it, but we do have a similar setting that we have a setting that tells Link Whisper not to scan links in specific sections. So I think what we could do is we can extend that kind of functionality to linking and use that to say, okay, so like for example, if your about class or if your about section has a particular CSS class or is in a particular HTML tag, what we can do is create a field for you that will allow you to say, okay, Link Whisper, ignore anything inside of this kind of box, and then it won't create auto links in there.
Beyond my capabilities, I'm a non-technical user who just blogs his brains out.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah, I will definitely look into it. This is a very interesting question. We had a similar question yesterday from somebody who wanted to prevent auto links in specific cases. So we'll look into it and see about creating a setting that will allow you to do it. And
Terrific.
awesome. And we'd be
Yeah.
happy to check out the site and see, okay, is there, what kind of identifier would you have to put into the setting to ignore it? So you can just say, hey, I talked to Matt on the webinar, and I want to know how to ignore this section from the Autolink, and then we can just check and say, oh yeah, we'll just put this in the settings.
The other question I had is, and again, just so I know, in using the API key from OpenAI, do they get access to the data for training?
They do not. They
Thank you.
say, oh, you're welcome.
Very clear. Thank you.
Jeff, I
You're
just
welcome.
popped my email in the chat. If you want to send me an email about what this discussion, and then I'll pass it along to Matt, and he can work on that. Okay?
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. Is anybody else? Yeah, sorry.
Are there any other questions about the auto linking or anything else just in this phase? Okay, I guess we're clear. Do you want to go on to the other questions and just open the floor, Samara?
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone have any other Link Whisper, general Link Whisper questions that we can answer? Anyone have any trouble with any features? Anyone have any questions about how something works? Now is the time. I will ask a question from my friend Andreas, who has emailed with a couple of queries. He asks, can Link Whisper also suggest links to drafts? And after the draft is published, the links would then link to the published page with the correct URL.
Yes. Yeah, you can select drafts as a type to link with, and what you have to do is come to the Link Whisper settings, scroll down to the post statuses to create links for, and then select draft. And that's all you have to do. Link Whisper will automatically process your site's permalink rules and determine what the finished URL is going to look like, and will create links pointing to that. So as long as you don't go in, as long as you don't edit the post's URL inside of the post, and just show you real quick. Yeah, as long as you don't edit the permalink from up here inside the draft post, Link Whisper will correctly process the site's permalink rules and create the finished URL for you. So you won't be getting a whole bunch of like P question mark 123 style links posted all over your site.
Okay, so once that post goes live, whatever internal links you inserted during the draft phase will be correct.
Yep.
Pretty cool, Matt.
Thank you.
I have to say. Anyone else have any questions? Anyone else want to tell us your thoughts about Link Whisper? What you love, what you hate, what features are missing?
Yeah, the only thing I've got is, I got to get in there and do it. As I said previously, it seems that the effort that you guys undertook when you were working with my site were good, and this has been a good presentation, because you blew through that kind of fast, and frankly, other than just my regular stuff that has nothing to do with Link Whisper, I hadn't done anything. So this is good. So now I've got to get in there and well, I've still got the other site that I mentioned previously, and that one's virgin, so to speak. I've installed the GPT chat code, and now I need to do what you just demonstrated. So this has been a good presentation.
Awesome. Glad to hear it, and glad that's helpful to you.
Yes.
Thanks, Dave. As you know, we're around, so give us a shout if you need anything.
Appreciate it.
Well, Matt, what are your thoughts? Anything else we?
Yeah, I figure if we've got no other questions, and there's, I guess, nothing else on the email or from the submissions, then I guess we'll just call it a webinar.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out. As you know, we're around if you need any help, any support. You have a feature suggestion. If you want to leave a testimonial, we're collecting testimonials for the homepage. You get a juicy backlink from that, so feel free to send a testimonial. And yeah, give us a shout if you need anything in the Facebook group, on email. We're always around and happy to help. So thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Okay, bye
Yeah.
guys.
Bye, everybody.